Well, hi everyone. I've done several videos about the Rapidan Dam failure near Mankato, Minnesota, and recently I posed the question, what now? There was extensive damage to a bridge immediately upstream of the dam. The entire left abutment was widened out by a new channel from overtopping to create a new channel almost as wide as the original dam. So it's a big mess. Well, we've got a little bit more direction now what's going to happen. I'm recording this video on Wednesday, August 27th. Yesterday on August 26th, the Blue County, Minnesota Board of Commissioners met and voted as to what they plan to do with both the bridge and dam. And they decided to remove the dam and to replace the bridge. So I've got a treat for you today. I commissioned my own drone flight, and I'm going to walk you through some key aspects of this footage. I think it's extremely interesting. So we're going to start out on the west side. You can see here the extensive damage that was done. You can tell there's extensive damage here. I'm going to pause it right here for a second. You can see this is the old left abutment, and it was founded on a resistant layer of sandstone, and the contact from that rock to the surrounding soil at that abutment was more erodible. So when the water from a high flood event overtopped that section of the dam, it just cut down very quickly through the soil and rock layers, leaving the more resistant knob, as it were, where they originally founded the left abutment of the dam. See these dead pools they have now immediately downstream of the dam. So as a reminder, some of the overall statistics for this dam is completed in 1910, had an overall length of 475 feet with a structural height of 87 feet. So that's from the stream bed elevation to the top of the dam. So keep that 87-foot dimension in mind as we go through this video. I also want to mention on Monday I had a great conversation with the Blue County County Engineer, Ryan Tilges. He's also the Public Works Director. He's answered many episodes of questions I've had since the start of this situation back at the end of June 2024, so thank you for that. So we're looking downstream now. You can see what the configuration of the channel looks like. Not nearly as steep a slopes as we have now immediately adjacent to the dam. You can just see, again, the dam height is 87 feet, so you can see how much of a vertical slope there is in the new bank of the river. So you can compare how tall that vertical scarp is on the left bank of the Blue Earth River channel now, immediately adjacent and downstream of the left side of the dam. This is a huge mess. They're going to have to do something to stabilize these slopes, either that or just wait for a more stable or equilibrium slope to be established, which is going to involve more loss of land away from the river channel. You can see these fans forming at the base of the scarp. We see the remnants of the dam store. They've been there for decades, a local haunt, very popular. You see the slab from the shelter house that was there for the campground. Now, to give you an idea of the flows, there's a gauging station immediately upstream of the dam. So at the time that this drone footage was filmed yesterday, the flow along Blue River near the dam was just under 600 cubic feet per second. Now compare that to the peak flow, which was the second highest flow in the history of this dam at 32,900 cubic feet per second, and that occurred at the end of June at the time the dam overtopped. Now I was there on June 26th and caught this footage.
Yeah, back in 2010, they discovered that those two, they were open, but they were discovered.
So that's roughly 30,000 cubic feet per second flow, just to give you an idea. And this is what just under 600 cubic feet per second looks like. Just a massive area. You can see how that channel bank is cutting back towards another pier on the bridge. So there's no question that this bridge has to be replaced. Now let's move in on I believe it's Pier 2 in the middle of the river. And you can also see some of the cap is exposed, the pile cap on the pier immediately to the east. I gather that would be Pier 3. I think Pier 1's on the left bank. So you can see all the exposed piling. If the piling appears crooked, it's because it's battered on the outside. That's typically done to increase the lateral stability of a group of piles for a foundation. Mr. Tilgus mentioned to me that they originally thought this was H-pile. That's what was shown on the plan. So back when this bridge was constructed nearly 40 years ago, an acceptable substitute for the H-pile was 7 5/8 inch diameter oil field pipe. So that's what they used here. And they're most likely concrete filled on the inside. So you can see here that according to Mr. Tilgus, the original bedment depth was approximately 40 feet in the stream bed sediment at the time this bridge was constructed, and at least half of that thickness was eroded away or scoured out from this recent flood event. So one of the questions I asked him was if they considered trying to repair this bridge, because he said at this point there's no signs of distress in terms of vertical deflection or horizontal movement of the bridge deck. But obviously this is an untenable situation. If you were to repair it, you could do something like maybe install some sheet pile around here, perhaps install micropile through the cap in between the existing pile into the bedrock, and then fill the whole thing with concrete and basically create a giant pier around these pile here. But that would likely, according to Mr. Tilgus, and I could see why, would concentrate the flow and increase velocities and cause other problems. And considering what's going on with the left bank of the channel continuing to erode, I see that it makes sense that this bridge is going to have to be replaced. And because of the importance of this bridge, I believe it'll have at least 75% funding from federal highways, with 25% coming from the state for the replacement of this bridge, which I believe is estimated to cost nearly $20 million. Now, one of the first things they're going to do either this fall or this spring is to remove this bridge because it poses a hazard in future flood events. This is a steel girder bridge, and you can imagine if this pier were taken out and you have all this superstructure collapsing, it's going to cause even more problems with erosion. And on this west side, there's a number of houses there that would be threatened. So let's continue on with the drone footage. You can see all the accumulation of debris on the upstream side of the pier, which is common. And when that happens, that just increases the water forces acting on the pier. So you're increasing the forces and you're removing a lot of lateral stability from the soil scour. So it's not a good combination. They did the right thing closing this bridge to traffic. It's a nice shot of the dam downstream of the bridge. You can see what the channel slopes look like upstream of the dam, much flatter. So let's go further downstream now. And keep in mind, again, the structural height of this dam is 87 feet and roughly 450 foot long. So just the size of the new channel is enormous. Now we can see on the right bank downstream of the dam some rather steep slopes. No doubt the trees at the top of the slope are helping to stabilize against erosion. The left bank's much gentler compared to what we have immediately adjacent to the remnants of the dam. Go back looking upstream again. This is what the dam looked like in pre-failure condition. And it's quite a hazardous situation. They've cordoned off that area of the road to keep people from driving into this area. See that channel bank's getting closer and closer to the other pier of this bridge on the west side. As I've mentioned in previous videos, this Blue Earth River flows to the north. So by looking at the nature of the slopes upstream and downstream, That gives you an idea of what the more or less natural configuration of the riverbank would be, which is a lot flatter than what you have immediately adjacent to what's left of the dam. So unless there's some active intervention to stabilize that scarp through, say, soil anchors or other means, other structural means, that bank's going to continue to erode. Just a view of the dam. All this is going to have to come out. Mr. Tilgus told me that they're going to apply to FEMA for emergency funds for the cost, to cover the cost of this dam removal and replacement. That process could take anywhere from 12 to 15 months before funding would be approved. So they'll be working on their FEMA application in the coming weeks. So it just shows you how important it is to keep dams from overtopping. And I keep responding to the comments. This is a dam failure. Anytime you have overtopping, which erodes either the embankment itself or abutment contact and results in an uncontrolled release of the reservoir, that's a dam failure. So again, the remnants of the dam store. Had a restaurant, sold pies there and burgers. The county demolished this building to keep debris from entering in the channel. Now you can see the erosion scarp didn't reach the store, but obviously it was unsafe condition, and I think it was prudent to proactively remove that material. I mean, even if they hadn't, this wouldn't be a viable retail location or restaurant location given the proximity of that scarp. So it's just amazing how much force is applied by flowing water. So as a reminder, there was a study done back in 2021 to evaluate potential costs associated with either a dam repair or removal. At that time, removal costs were estimated to be around $82 million. A big chunk of that had to do with removing sediment, and a lot of that obviously has been taken away through this flood event. But again, I can't imagine that the costs would be even less than this, and maybe even more, because of the extensive amount of bank stabilization that has to occur now. And there may be areas downstream that need to be cleaned out and dredged to restore the channel to its more natural condition. So I hope you enjoyed that drone footage. I'm going to put the full unedited flight, it's about 19 minutes of footage, on the channel as members only content. So please consider becoming a member. I want to really thank those of you who have been members and also provided support through Super Thanks. I'm going to roll credits acknowledging them here in just a moment. Also note that I've got links in the description for free digital downloads. I've got one on the biggest civil engineering disasters of the past 100 years. And I have another one on the NASA program, the Artemis program, to return humans to the surface of the moon. So thanks for watching, everyone, and please stay tuned for future videos.